Hi, I'm Sean, and I like to consume media. So I've been doing a lot of reading this last year and a half as a form of escapism from current events that shall remain nameless. And through my renaissance of reading, I have come across a fantasy series that I'm going to recommend right here, right now. It's a little series you may have heard of called The Wheel of Time. But you're probably wondering, Sean, just what the hell is The Wheel of Time? So, basically, The Wheel of Time is... The Wheel of Time is a 14-book-long epic fantasy series written by one Robert Jordan. And you're probably going, oh my god, 14 books, fuck off. And you know what? If someone had said that to me, if I was talking to me last year, I would have also told me to fuck off. Because it's long and it sounds daunting, but I'm telling you, now's the time to get on that bandwagon and to start. And so, I'm going to give you some reasons as to why you should read The Wheel of Time in a variety of sections. And then hopefully by the end, I have annoyed, inspired, or possibly even bullied you sufficiently to make you want to start this series, or at least turn off the video. Either way, I'm happy. So without further ado, here are the reasons that you should start The Wheel of Time right bloody now. Now, I think we can all agree that characters are obviously the most important part of the story. And The Wheel of Time certainly has characters. The Wheel of Time boasts around over, I think, almost 2,000 named characters. Now, don't worry, they're not, obviously there are your main characters, and then there are your side characters, and then there are your throwaway characters who turn up for like a paragraph. But the main characters are fantastically written, and they all have their clear-cut agendas, beliefs, and flaws. Especially the main character. He is quite possibly the most flawed individual I've ever had the pleasure of following in a series, or fantasy series for that matter. He is just a poor old chap in a totally helpless situation, and he has no bloody idea what he's doing. And I kind of identify with that because I feel that I'm a helpless chap who has no idea what he's doing. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. But these characters then realistically overcome their own flaws and lead to some particularly triumphant moments in the series that I've read so far anyway. And then characters who start out as sort of middling, or think, oh, there's not much to this character, will then, as the series goes on develop, start to become your most favorite character like ever. So if you're a big Game of Thrones fan and you love your Jaime Lannister and you love your Tyrion and you love your Arya Stark, those kind of like arcs, you're going to get them. You're going to get characters that you don't think much of initially, but then as the series progresses, you're going to be like, give me a chapter, give me a bloody chapter of this character, because I can't get enough of them. And then on the other side of things, you've got your villains, and there are some villains that are absolutely despicable. There are some villains that you feel kind of sorry for, and there are villains where you're like, well, maybe he's not all that, and maybe he has a point. So there's quite a lot of nuance. And with The Wheel of Time, it's really where you see classic fantasy become modern fantasy. Whereas, everything isn't black and white. There's some grey elements to characters and to the story, and The Wheel of Time exemplifies this very well. So yeah, characters, they're pretty bloody great. That's reason one why you should read The Wheel of Time. Okay, reason two. No fantasy series is complete without a world, because if there wasn't a world, then you just have characters floating around in a void. The world of The Wheel of Time is extremely well thought out, diverse, and just engrossing. You will never read a series with such an engrossing, deep world with deep cultures that have their own histories, their own rivalries, their own allies. I mean, to just read a quote from the New York Times on the back of this Wheel of Time book I'm reading here. With The Wheel of Time, Jordan has come to dominate the world that Tolkien began to reveal. And I can't disagree with that at all. It really, not to knock Lord of the Rings, because I bloody love Lord of the Rings, but it makes Lord of the Rings look like, you know, baby's first fantasy novel. I know it's overstated when you say, oh, read this book, you're stepping into another world, but literally an entire world with, I don't know, like 10, 12 plus different cultures, maybe more, I haven't even got that far yet, are thought out, have their own things going on. And it's diverse. I really enjoy the diversity of how the people look, different skin colors, the different belief systems. You know, when Robert Jordan wrote The Wheel of Time, as far as Lord of the Rings was like a reflection of early 20th century Britain, The Wheel of Time is a reflection of late 20th century America. So that's why the world is so diverse and deep, because it's almost like it's like the melting pot of fantasy is The Wheel of Time, and that is sort of how, and America itself is the melting pot of all different cultures. You know, the cities themselves are really well thought out. They all have their own maps. If you love your fantasy maps, The Wheel of Time will give you maps upon maps upon maps, and it helps you, like, you know, get a sense of geography with the world as well. And the cities are grand and epic, and you got grand epic cities, and you've got like small, you know, pastoral villages, and then you've got like desert tribes and whatnot. And yeah, it's amazing. And on top of it all, Jordan has pulled from a lot of other cultures into the world of The Wheel of Time, and quite a lot of it, actually, I was surprised to find out, is inspired by like Irish or even Celtic mythology. For example, not to spoil anything, but in the opening of the first Wheel of Time book, there is a festival where they're celebrating the start of spring, and it's called Bell Time. And in Ireland, in sort of Celtic, sort of pagan mythos or whatever you want to call it, Baltana is a celebration of spring as well that happens every 1st of May. And the Irish for May is Baltana. And even the concept of the Wheel of Time, that time is a wheel and things repeat and happen again, that comes from the Hindu belief system. Okay, reason number 3. I should have mentioned this probably from the outset. Adaptation. You probably heard that it is currently being adapted by Amazon Studios and Sony, and it's coming out this November, and the first season, which I assume is based on the first book, Eye of the World, we'll see. But it stars Rosamund Pike is like the main kind of like celebrity, that's famous kind of actress that's going to be in it, and they're keeping hush hush on a lot of other elements too, which I'm, you know, hopefully excited to see down the line. Maybe we'll get a trailer. But essentially, you know, if you want to be kind of slightly ahead of the curve, then now is the time to start reading The Wheel of Time, because not to like, you know, overblow things, but I feel like this series is about to become engrossed in the public sphere, and once the internet has its hands on this thing, it's not going to let go. And I'm really hoping that this explodes once it comes out on Amazon and people become interested in reading the books, and there's a massive there's a growth of the fan base, and I want to see that happen. And so, but I want to be like, but I was slightly ahead of the curve, because I don't know, I'm being a hipstery wanker about it. Also, you want to start getting your copies of your books now, because like I didn't start reading The Witcher until the show had come out, and now this is on every, you know, bloody fucking cover. Like this little, it looks like it can be scratched off, but it can't. It's part of the cover, and I don't like that. I just feel like it adds like an element of tack to it. You know, I would prefer maybe if this was on the back, or if it was a sticker. Like, it looks like a sticker, but it won't fucking come off. Next reason, the writing, the prose, whatever you want to call it. I think Robert Jordan is a very descriptive and quite beautiful writer. I'm going to read the first paragraph, because every first opening paragraph of the book is the same with a slight change. But don't worry, I'm going to just kind of like embellish it a small bit, just to kind of not spoil things, because it is the 5th book. But the opening paragraph of every Wheel of Time book is written like this. I think it's quite magical and really kind of gets you ready for what's to be a grand epic adventure.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age called the Third Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind arose in the mountains of mist. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time, but it was a beginning.
And that's every opening paragraph of every Wheel of Time book, and I think it's just such a wonderfully written paragraph that gets you pumped and excited for what's to be, a grand epic adventure. So this is the last reason I want to keep this video as brief as I can. The series is finished. It's completed. Books 1 to 14 plus a prequel book as well. The series is completed. It is donezo. It is beginning to end done, and I've been told that the ending of the Wheel of Time is the perfect ending for the most perfect ending that could have possibly been written for it, which is very reassuring because if you didn't know, unfortunately, the original author Robert Jordan passed away from heart disease in 2007, and then the final 3 books were then written and finished by one Brandon Sanderson, who is known for his own kind of fantasy books, and he grew up as a fan of the Wheel of Time himself, so no better man to finish the series. He's an excellent fantasy writer in his own right, and from what I've heard from friends and stuff, there couldn't have been a better man to finish the series, because apparently it pays off, and I'm looking forward to getting to the end when I get to the end. So this isn't like a Game of Thrones situation where you're going to start the first book before the show comes out, and then no one finishes it, and then the writers are just kind of like, and then this thing happens, and whoops, season 8, it's over. No, don't worry, the series is completed. So yep, those are my reasons for reading the Wheel of Time. The book series is a fantastic journey that you can just take at your own pace. It's a very special story, and I can see why it's held in such high regard, and I am very excited to see it being adapted. So all I can say to you is pick up that first book, The Eye of the World, and bloody well get started reading and join me on this journey to finish what is apparently the seminal fantasy book series of all time. So on that note, I've been Sean, and I'm going to head off now to consume some more media. So until next time, see you around.